Welcome to Passport to Sleep, a calming journey through real places and dreamy escapes. Let's begin tonight's story. The first glimpse of Madeira comes like a secret. The plane hums quietly as it descends from the clouds, and through the small oval window, the Atlantic stretches out, endless and silver under the midday sun. Then, like a magician's trick, land rises suddenly from the water. A wall of cliffs green with vines stitched with terraces crowned in mist. The runway seems almost impossible, floating on stilts above the sea. As the wheels touch down with a jolt, there's a ripple of quiet laughter through the cabin. Relief, awe, wonder. Stepping onto the tarmac, the first thing that hits us is the scent. Salt spray, blooming flowers, warm volcanic stone. The air is heavier here, sweeter somehow, as if the island is already leaning close to whisper something in our ears. The airport is small, easy, bright with windows that frame the deep, breathing sea. We collect our bags, still half in a dream, and within minutes we're driving west along the coast toward Funchal. The road hugging cliffs so steep, it feels like the sea might reach up and pluck us away. Every curve of the drive reveals something new. Banana trees heavy with fruit lean over whitewashed stone walls. Tiny villages tumble down the hillsides, their churches crowned with simple bells. Bougainvillea flares against the sky in riots of pink and purple. The sea is a constant, glinting and gleaming and breathing at the island's feet. And above, the mountains loom, green, jagged, wrapped in slow-moving clouds. We arrive in Funchal, tucked neatly between mountain and sea. Our hotel is hidden in the heart of the old town, a place of thick stone walls and terracotta rooftops, wrapped in the scent of lemons and old wood smoke. A simple wrought-iron gate swings open to a small courtyard filled with the sound of a fountain and the hum of bees around lavender bushes. Inside, the hotel is cool-shaded, alive with quiet. The floors are tiled in blue and white azulejos, the furniture old but polished to a gentle glow. The woman at the desk greets us in lilting Portuguese and presses a real brass key into our hands, the tag worn smooth by years of arrivals and departures. Our room is small, whitewashed, with heavy shutters that open onto a sliver of the Atlantic. The bed is draped in linen. The floor is cool under bare feet. Somewhere below, a dog barks once. Then the world falls quiet again. We leave our bags untouched, unwilling to waste a second of the afternoon's gold. The streets of the old town twist and fold around us like a story. The cobblestones are uneven, warm from the sun, and the alleys are just wide enough for two people to walk shoulder to shoulder. Every building seems to lean slightly, weighted by time, held together by ivy and hope. The doors here are art. Brightly painted murals cover them. One depicts a fisherman mending nets against a backdrop of stars. Another, a woman woven from flowers. A third shows a cat stretched luxuriously across a window ledge. The paint is cracked, faded in places, but that only makes it feel more alive. We wander without maps, letting the streets pull us where they will. There are shops filled with wicker baskets and hand-stitched linen, cafes where the scent of espresso curls out into the streets. Tiny groceries with crates of peaches, bananas, maracuja stacked high outside. We pass a small church where a woman kneels in prayer, her hands steady, her back straight, her whispers caught in the dusty shafts of sunlight falling through stained glass. We pass an old man sitting on a stool, weaving baskets with hands that move faster than thought. We pass a boy kicking a soccer ball against a wall, singing to himself in a high, clear voice. Life here isn't performed, it simply is. The Mercado dos Lavradores draws us like a beacon. The market spills out of a grand, columned hall into the sunlit streets beyond. Inside, it is a riot of colour and scent. Stalls piled high with fruits we've never seen before, long green fingers of banana passion fruit, bright orange guava split open to reveal their ruby hearts, custard apples soft and dimpled, smelling faintly of vanilla and earth. Vendors call out softly, offering slices of mango, cubes of creamy cheese, tiny glasses of Madeira wine. We taste everything. The mango is like syrup on the tongue. The cheese is sharp and clean, crumbling into salt crystals. The wine is golden and smoky, like swallowing a piece of the sun itself. In the fish hall, the air is cool and sharp with salt. Scabbard fish lie gleaming and black as oil, their long jaws open in silent snarl. Octopus tentacles curl lazily on beds of ice. Sardines flash silver in great writhing piles. The air hums with bargaining, laughter, the slap of hands against tables. We buy nothing, we carry everything as the smells, the sounds, the colours, stitched into the fabric of our skin. Outside, the sun has dropped lower, gilding the edges of the streets, deepening every colour. We find a small bench along the promenade and sit, letting the island breathe around us. Children chase each other along the quay. Fishermen mend nets in the last light. Old women sit with their skirts spread wide, shelling peas into bowls on their laps. The sea laps gently at the rocks, whispering its endless song. The air smells of salt and grilled fish and dust cooling on warm stone. As the shadows grow longer, we walk to the cable car station. The glass gondolas hum quietly as they rise from the harbour, lifting passengers upward toward the sky. We step aboard and feel the sudden lift, that brief, wonderful moment of weightlessness, as we rise away from the earth. Below, the city unfolds, rooftops like a patchwork of red and gold, gardens splashed with bougainvillea and bird of paradise, narrow streets winding like spilled ribbon toward the sea. The air grows cooler as we rise, the wind sings softly against the cables. The view stretches and stretches until it feels like we can see not just Madeira, but the curve of the entire Atlantic. At the top, Monty is waiting. The gardens here are a dream stitched onto a mountaintop. We wander slowly, almost reverently under towering ferns and ancient trees. Ponds filled with lilies catch the fading light like mirrors. Carp flash gold and orange beneath the surface. Stone lanterns stand watch over shaded paths. Everywhere there is green, deeper, richer, more alive than any green we've ever seen. The air smells of damp earth and crushed herbs. Birds dart between the trees, flashes of scarlet and emerald. We follow a winding path to a hidden terrace where a stone bench overlooks the entire bay. We sit there for a long time, watching the last light melt into the sea, watching the city blink to life below, one lamp at a time, watching the first stars prick the darkening sky. When we finally descend, it is full night. Funchal shimmers below us, a net of golden lights cast over the hillsides. The air smells of night-blooming jasmine and wood smoke. We walk slowly back through the old streets, the cobblestones warm underfoot. Dinner waits at a small courtyard restaurant tucked behind a heavy wooden door. The tables are rough wood, the chairs old and mismatched, the walls hung with flowering vines. We sit under a canopy of fairy lights, the night folding itself gently around us. Dinner is a feast for the senses. We enjoy espetada, beef skewers grilled over laurel wood, rich with smoke and herbs. And roasted sweet potatoes, their skins crackling. We include a salad of oranges, red onions, black olives dressed with olive oil so sharp it makes us laugh with surprise. We drink chilled white wine, crisp, clean, tasting faintly of stone and sunlight. We eat slowly, talking little, letting the night speak for us. The laughter of other diners drifts across the courtyard, low and warm. The stars wheel overhead. The sea breathes beyond the hills. Later, we walk again down to the edge of the harbour. The water glows with the reflection of 1,000 lights. The masts of the fishing boats rock gently against the sky. We sit on a low wall, feet dangling above the stones. The air is cool and salted, brushing our skin like a blessing. We sit there until the world falls silent, until the lights blur into gold, until the stars seem close enough to touch. And when we finally rise to go, it is not because we are ready, but because Madeira has already written itself into us, quietly, indelibly, like a tide that pulls without force. Morning comes wrapped in mist. When we open the shutters, the world outside is blurred, softened by a veil of silver cloud drifting down from the mountains. The rooftops of Funchal glisten with dew, and the scent of wet stone and blooming jasmine floats in through the window. The island feels different today, quieter, older, somehow closer to its bones. We dress in layers, knowing the mountains will carry their own weather, and set out into the waking city. Breakfast is simple and perfect. We find a cafe tucked under an arcade near the market, where the tiles on the walls still gleam blue and white under the morning light. 2 thick coffees arrive in small porcelain cups, their scent sharp and rich. Alongside them, plates of bolo do caco toast, sliced and steaming, slathered with garlic butter that pools in golden puddles. We eat slowly, savouring the crisp edges, the way the butter melts into our fingers, the low hum of the island stretching awake around us. Our driver meets us just beyond the old stone walls of the city. He's a native Madeiran, with a deep tan and eyes that crinkle into kindness when he smiles. His English is soft, musical, laced with the cadence of the island. As we pull away from Funchal, he tells us that Madeira was formed 5 million years ago by volcanic eruptions from the seafloor. A wild, explosive birth that created the steep cliffs and deep valleys we are about to explore. He points out the terraced hills, stitched with neat rows of grapevines and banana trees, explaining how generations of Madeirans carved farms from the impossible landscape, stone by stone. There was no flat land here, he says, laughing. We made it ourselves. We climb higher, the road narrowing, hairpin turns stacking one atop another, the sea falling away below us into mist and distance. The air grows thinner, cooler, sharper. Our destination rises into view, Pico do Arrieiro, Madeira's third highest peak at 1,818 metres above sea level. The summit car park is simple, just a low cafe, a few stone walls. But stepping out of the car, the world rushes in. The view is staggering. The clouds lie below us, a rippling ocean of white stretching in every direction. Sharp peaks spear up through the mist, their green slopes falling away into unseen valleys, their black crags catching the morning light. The air smells of cold stone, wild thyme, and something older, something like the breath of the earth itself. We stand there in silence, the wind tugging at our jackets, our breath catching at the sheer, impossible beauty. It feels like standing at the edge of the world. Or perhaps above it. A stone path leads away from the viewpoint, the beginning of one of the island's most famous hikes. The trail from Pico do Arrieiro to Pico Ruivo, the highest point on Madeira. We follow it for a short way. The trail twists and dips, hugging the cliffs, winding through tunnels carved by hand into the rock. Long ago, shepherds and farmers used these high paths to move between villages, hidden deep in the folds of the island. Tiny communities cut off from each other by mountains and mist. We step carefully along the narrow ledges, the handrails slick with dew, the cliffs dropping away dizzyingly to either side. The mist shifts around us, revealing and hiding the world in slow swirling dances. Birds wheel overhead, their calls sharp and lonely in the high, thin air. We climb to a small plateau and sit on a sun-warmed boulder. Below us, the world falls away into green valleys, knife-edged ridges, secret forests. The island breathes. We breathe with it. After a while, we retrace our steps, the path feeling different in reverse, as if the mountain has shifted in our absence. Back at the summit, we warm ourselves with thick coffee from the tiny cafe, standing outside to drink it, the steam rising and curling into the cool mountain air. The road away from Pico do Arrieiro snakes downward in long, lazy curves, the mist thinning, the landscape softening. We pass through groves of Eucalyptus globulus, towering trees imported from Australia in the 19th century to stabilise Madeira's steep hillsides. Their scent is sharp, medicinal, filling the car with a clean, bracing coolness. Then, deeper, we enter the ancient forests. The laurisilva, Madeira's laurel forest, a relic from the time when much of southern Europe was cloaked in dense, humid woods. Here the trees are not orderly or tame, they are wild, gnarled, dripping with moss, their trunks twisted into living sculptures. The air is thick, green, breathing, birdsong threads through the branches, Madeiran firecrests, chaffinches, soft and secret. The laurisilva is so rare, so precious, it has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the few remaining vestiges of a lost world. We pull over at a small trailhead and set out on foot, the Levada dos Balcões. A gentle path, following one of the island's ancient irrigation channels, levadas as they're called. These levadas were built centuries ago, beginning in the 16th century, when settlers needed a way to bring water from the wet north of the island to the dry south. They are masterpieces of slow, patient engineering, dug by hand into cliffs, carved through mountains, running for hundreds of kilometres in slender, silver threads. Today, they offer some of the most beautiful walks in the world. The trail is shaded, cool. The levada gurgles quietly beside us, the water clear and fast, flashing silver in the dim green light. The path is soft underfoot, a carpet of fallen leaves, crushed laurel, wet moss. We walk slowly, breathing in the damp fern-sweet air, feeling the history under every step. The forest folds around us like a living cathedral, high arches of twisting branches, shafts of light filtering down like golden smoke. After a peaceful hour, the trail opens onto a balcony, the Miraduro dos Balcões. The view punches the breath from our lungs. Before us stretches a valley carved deep and green into the heart of the island, rimmed by sharp peaks wrapped in drifting cloud. The central mountain massif, timeless, patient, breathing. We lean on the low stone wall, feeling the wind on our faces, tasting the sharpness of altitude and salt. Below, the valley floors shimmer with terraced farms and hidden hamlets, smoke rising lazily from chimneys. It feels untouched, eternal. We sit on the low wall and watch as the clouds drift and curl through the peaks, dissolving and reforming like living things. The island exhales. We exhale with it. Back on the trail, the forest seems even greener, the shadows deeper, the songs of unseen birds sweeter. We walk without speaking, letting the quiet stitch itself into our bones. Lunch waits in a tiny village cafe. We sit at a wooden table in the sun, the stone walls around us warm to the touch. The food is simple, hearty, perfect. Grilled espetada, cubes of beef skewered on bay branches, still sizzling from the fire. And baskets of bolo do caco, steaming and fragrant. All with a salad of bright tomatoes, cucumber, onions, drenched in sharp olive oil. And tall glasses of poncha, the island's fierce, sweet punch made with sugarcane rum, honey, and lemon. The poncha bites and soothes at once, sharp and golden. The food fills us not just with flavour, but with something older. The deep, simple satisfaction of fire and earth and hunger and joy. The afternoon unfolds like a slow golden ribbon. We drive winding roads down toward the coast again, the views widening, softening. Vineyards cascade down impossible slopes. Terraces step down toward the sea like green staircases. Villages cling to ridges, their church towers bright against the dark hills. The air grows warmer, heavier with the scent of the ocean. We roll down the windows and let it in. We end the day sitting on a low stone wall above the cliffs, watching the Atlantic burn gold and red under the sinking sun. The waves below catch fire. The sky melts from orange to rose to deep, aching blue. The island folds into night. We sit until the last light fades, until the first stars gather in the high, clear sky, until the cool breath of evening makes us pull our jackets tighter. The morning wakes soft and silver over Madeira. The sky is low, streaked with thin clouds dragging their slow fingers across the tops of the hills. Somewhere down in the city, church bells ring, their sound rolling up through the folds of the island like a blessing. We move slowly this morning, savouring each small moment, the warmth of a thick cotton blanket pulled back, the cool, patterned tiles under bare feet, the sharp, sweet scent of oranges drifting up from the courtyard below. Breakfast is leisurely, thick coffee, dark and fragrant, a basket of bolo do caco, toasted until the butter hisses in the crumb, jars of golden honey and sharp, crumbly cheese from the mountains, fresh slices of maracujá, passion fruit, sweet, tart, alive on the tongue. The city hums gently beyond the terrace, cars whisper past, birds gossip in the trees, the sea glints beyond the red rooftops, waiting. Today the island will show us her edges. Today we walk the place where land falls into sea. The road south from Funchal winds up and up, the city falling away behind us. The hillsides are a quilt of small farms and bright houses, stitched together with stone walls and tangled grapevines. Goats pick their way along narrow tracks, heads lifted curiously. Old women in black skirts carry baskets of greens on their heads. Laundry flutters like prayer flags from rooftop lines. The scent of eucalyptus sharpens, mixing with the fainter breath of the sea. And then the world opens wide. Welcome to Cabo Hiram. We park at the modest visitor centre and walk out toward the cliffs. Simple, windswept, raw. At the edge, the famous skywalk stretches out over the void, a platform of thick, transparent glass suspended 580 metres above the Atlantic. The highest sea cliff in Europe. We step onto the glass. At first, the heart leaps, a moment of vertigo, of impossible falling. Below, the terraced farms cling to narrow ledges, tiny green steps carved from the sheer rock by desperate, patient hands centuries ago. Farther still, the black rocks at the base of the cliffs glisten in the sun, the waves shattering into white spray, reforming, shattering again. The air is electric here, sharp with salt, alive with the updrafts of warm ocean air. It smells of wild thyme, distant rain, and stone heated by sun. We stand there for a long time, feeling the wind tug at our clothes, the cliff breathing ancient patience beneath our feet. From Cabo Girão, We drift downward along the coast. The road curves through steep valleys, hugging the cliffs, diving into tunnels carved straight through the volcanic stone. The villages we pass seem suspended between sea and sky. Banana trees grow thick and wild here, heavy with fruit, the leaves tattered by endless wind. Church towers gleam white against the green hills. Bright boats pulled far up the rocky beaches wait for the next tide. We stop in Câmara de Lobos, a village painted in salt and sunlight. Winston Churchill once sat here, brush in hand, trying to capture the impossible blue of the bay, the impossible angles of the red-tiled roofs tumbling down to the sea. Today, it feels unchanged. Old fishermen sit on overturned boats, mending nets, smoking slowly, their skin burnished by sun and years. A small market buzzes with the low hum of barter, tomatoes bursting with juice, loaves of dense and fragrant bread, bundles of fresh herbs still wet from the fields. The air smells of grilled fish, of seaweed drying on stone, of the faint sweetness of ripe figs. We walk the harbour, watching the boats bob and turn in the lazy current. The sea here is so clear that we can see straight to the rocky bottom, fish flickering like living coins in the shallows. Lunch waits at a tiny seaside restaurant, its tables shoved almost to the edge of the quay. We order the island's treasures, grilled limpets, lapas, served sizzling on a hot plate and doused with garlic and lemon. Espada con banana, black scabbard fish fried crisp and paired improbably, perfectly, with sweet banana. And a carafe of vinho verde faintly sparkling, as light as wind in the trees. The food is simple, shocking, beautiful. The lapas burst briny and rich on the tongue. The scabbard fish is soft, buttery. The banana caramelized and golden. The wine cuts through the flavors like a bright thread of green light. We eat with our fingers, laughing when the garlic butter runs down our wrists. The sea sighs at our feet. The sunlight drifts soft and warm across the table. The island leans close. In the afternoon, we drive westward, chasing the curve of the coast. The cliffs grow darker, steeper, heavier with shadow. The village is thin, replaced by thick forests and hidden waterfalls spilling sudden and secret down the rock faces. The road winds higher, the air cooling, the scent of salt growing heavier. And then we see it, Porto Muniz, a scattering of white houses clinging to the cliffs above a wild, craggy coastline. And at the base, a miracle, natural volcanic pools, black stone cradling clear living water. The pools gleam under the sun, shifting shades of turquoise and jade, fed endlessly by the crash and suck of the sea. We find a quiet corner, far from the handful of other visitors. We slip into the water, cool, heavy with salt, tasting faintly of stone and sky. The rock underfoot is rough, warm where the sun strikes it, slick where the sea kisses it. Tiny fish dart past our legs, anemones sway in hidden cracks. The Atlantic pounds the outer walls of the pools, sending up great explosions of spray, but inside, the water moves only gently, a quiet heart beating within the chaos. We float, weightless, our faces tilted to the blue, the whole sky cradling us. There is no time here, only breath, only salt, only the slow, endless dance of sea and stone. As the afternoon bleeds into gold, we dry ourselves with towels warmed on the rocks and sit at a low cafe overlooking the pools. We sip tiny coffees, strong enough to make our hands tremble slightly. We share a pastel de nata, the flaky custard tart of Portugal, its shell shattering into 1,000 sweet shards with each bite. The sea roars and hushes beyond the wall, the mountains loom wrapped in purple shadow. The sun falls lower, slower, heavier. We watch without speaking. The drive back is a dream stitched in twilight. The cliffs turn molten, then ash. The sea mirrors the colours of the sky, first gold, then rose, then bruised indigo. The villages light their lamps, small and scattered, like stars spilled across the hillsides. The scent of wood smoke and salt fills the air. The road winds slower now, which we don't mind. We arrive in Funchal as the first real darkness falls. The city shimmers in the folds of the hills, a net of golden light cast wide across the night. We park near the waterfront and walk slowly into the heart of the city. The stones underfoot are still warm. The sea smells sharper now, edged with the chill of night. The air is filled with the low hum of life, laughter, glasses clinking, music rising lazy and sweet from unseen courtyards. Our last dinner waits at a terrace overlooking the harbour. The table is small, set with heavy white linens, a candle guttering gently in the breeze. We order slowly, savouring the choices. A salad of bitter greens and figs, grilled octopus, tender and smoky, served on a bed of saffron rice. A final bottle of Madeira wine, old, amber, singing with the weight of sun and earth. We eat slowly, speaking little, letting the night fold around us. When we finish, we walk again, down to the quay, down to the very edge of the land. We sit on a low stone wall, the sea breathing dark and endless below us. Above, the stars stretch wide, sharp, infinite. We sit there until the candle gutters out, until the last of the wine is gone, until the city hums itself to sleep. Until we know, without question, that we are no longer visitors here. Madeira has folded us into its story, into its bones, and into its breath. We hope you enjoyed this journey. Please follow us for more destinations, and don't forget to leave a review. It helps others find a peaceful place to drift off to. We'd also like to remind you that information in this episode may become outdated. Please verify with your own research if you plan on travelling to any of these lovely destinations. Until next time.